these are just two of the Amiibo that will be useless in the 3.0 update just announced for Animal Crossing New Horizons. More on this in a second. Hey YouTube, welcome back to a brand new video. We've spent the last few days taking in all of the cool stuff revealed in the 3.0 update for Animal Crossing New Horizons. We've reacted to, analysed, and highlighted lots of exciting new content, but there's quite a bit of information Nintendo quietly left out. So today we're breaking down everything Nintendo didn't tell you about the 3.0 update, some of the limitations, and all of the details you should know. But first, please leave a like on the video and drop a hello in the comments. It really does help the channel out. And let's get straight into today's video. Now, it turns out there's lots of information that Nintendo didn't include in the trailer, from limitations of services to the progression of the game, and even some interesting caveats you should know. So in no particular order, let's start with the thing I found most surprising. In short, only some Amiibo will work at the hotel. As a quick recap, the Resort Hotel is a brand new facility coming to Animal Crossing New Horizons in 2026, and basically it's a mini Happy Home Paradise but on your main island. Not only can you shop in a new store and dress up some cool new mannequins to share outfits with friends, but you can decorate hotel rooms for villagers and even invite villagers using Amiibo. The 3.0 update trailer shows us several examples, with Label being invited to the Resort Hotel using Amiibo, which is pretty cool. But one thing Nintendo decided to leave out is that not all Amiibo are compatible with the hotel, and it turns out some characters can't be invited to the hotel at all. On the Japanese website, Nintendo go into a little more detail about the Amiibo feature of the hotel and confirm you can use Amiibo to invite your favourite animals, but it is not possible to summon animals who work on the island, such as Tom Nook or Isabelle, or special animals that are visiting the island that day. So whilst we can invite special characters such as Label, we can't invite characters such as Wilbur or Orville or even Brewster, because they are of course permanent members of staff on the New Horizons island. What's more is, it means if Red or Leaf is currently visiting, you'll have to wait until the next day to invite them to the hotel. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting limitation to the Resort Hotel. Now, not everything we're going to cover today is a limitation, but there is another pretty big feature that was revealed in the trailer that was kind of skipped over who it's available to. One of the big features coming to Animal Crossing New Horizons in the 3.0 update is the Slumber Island, a brand new feature from Luna that allows you to create up to 3 new dream islands essentially. Here you can terraform and design them however you see fit, and even invite friends to help you. Now, to get to the point, it turns out this creative mode, or multiple island feature, is limited to Nintendo Switch Online members, so paying subscribers. Nintendo put a disclaimer on screen stating Nintendo Switch Online members are required for online features, so you'd be forgiven thinking this was referring to inviting friends over to go to a Slumber Island. But it's not. It's referring to the feature as a whole, and a Nintendo Switch Online membership is required to have multiple islands, even if going there alone. On the Nintendo of America listing for the 3.0 update, it states, and I quote, "Players with a Nintendo Switch Online membership can design and save up to 3 islands and play with friends online." So it's actually confirming a membership is needed to even access and save multiple islands. I don't know for sure, but we can only assume it's because Nintendo store these Slumber Islands in the cloud, so it's easier for people to access them online rather than hosting them on one console and having 12 people visit you, if that makes sense. So one thing to consider if you're not a Nintendo Switch Online member, and also means this feature will one day be redundant, which sucks. Let me know in the comments if you're planning on making multiple Slumber Islands. Let's talk about a positive detail now that Nintendo didn't tell you. In the 3.0 update trailer, Nintendo very quickly skipped over the fact that multi-crafting is a new feature coming to New Horizons in the 3.0 update. In the trailer, they show the player opting to craft a batch of items, which will of course save players so much time in the future. However, you might think we'd need to have all of the necessary crafting material in our pockets in order to do this, but you don't. In the Nintendo of America eShop listing, it states, and I quote, "You can now craft items in batches, pulling materials directly from your storage," which is huge and means we don't have to keep topping up our pockets, can hoard all crafting materials in our storage, and the game will simply use what's in our storage to craft the items we're crafting. So whilst they touched briefly on multi-crafting in the trailer, they didn't tell us this particular quality of life update exists until after. Now, as you know, the 3.0 update will introduce a surprising amount of content to Animal Crossing New Horizons, from all new services to all new features and facilities. But one thing Nintendo failed to mention in the trailer at least is that even when you download the update, not everything will be immediately available and things will have to be unlocked. In the small print of a Nintendo press release, they state, "Game progress required to access additional content," when referring to the new Amiibo villagers. This makes sense given unlocking the campsite is required before being able to invite them. The same rings true for upgrading storage to 9,000, for example, as a fully expanded house would be needed. However, this is also true for inviting villagers to the resort hotel using Amiibo. A small detail you may have missed is that the Amiibo scanner isn't present when the hotel first opens, but is available later, so game progression is also needed to unlock the ability to invite your own villagers to the hotel using Amiibo. This is how it works in Happy Home Paradise 2, so even though Nintendo skipped over this detail, it makes sense. Now, before we get into some other details Nintendo decided to skip over or not tell us, we have a super quick one regarding the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of New Horizons. When using a camera with the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of New Horizons, you can of course have your face above your character, so when you have an island of 12 people, you can easily recognize who is who. Some people like it, personally I'm not a fan. Anyway, something you should know that wasn't really mentioned is that this feature is only free for a short time and will eventually become part of NSO. You can use the camera feature in Animal Crossing New Horizons for free on a Nintendo Switch 2 until March 31st, 2026. After this point, players will need to be Nintendo Switch Online members. It's not a big deal and I doubt anyone will even use this feature, to be honest, but I figured it was worth noting. On to the next. Moving on to a fun one now, and that's the Nintendo console collaboration items and the games they play. Nintendo revealed in the 3.0 update trailer that several Nintendo consoles will be available to order and once placed can be used to play select games from the Nintendo Switch Online library. This is a huge throwback to the original Animal Crossing game where NES games were a thing and completely playable inside Animal Crossing. I actually can't believe they're returning. Anyway, the trailer shows us that you can use the Famicom item to play Clu Clu Land, as well as the NES item to play Ice Climber, and even the Game Boy to play Dr. Mario. But Nintendo didn't mention what the other systems shown in the trailer will play. Fortunately, based on the cartridge designs we can see, using the Super Famicom you can play Panel de Pon, and using the SNES you can play F-Zero, which is pretty cool. Next up, we have a fairly important detail Nintendo didn't tell us that you should know. As we've discussed, it's possible to invite villagers to our islands, either to the campsite or to the resort hotel in the 3.0 update. These villagers include Tulin, Minoru, Cece, and Vici, who all bring with them Zelda and Splatoon inspired items respectively. These items will of course appear in the Nook Stop under the promotional tab once you've scanned them for the first time. Here they can be ordered, used, and even gifted to friends. However, something that hasn't been mentioned is that any of these Zelda and Splatoon crossover items can't be catalogued by other players. So just like these Sanrio crossover items, you can gift them to friends who don't have the Amiibo and they can use them, but they won't be able to reorder them themselves from their catalog. They'll have to scan the Amiibos and invite the new villagers themselves for the items to appear in their catalog and be able to order them. Again, not a 3.0 update deal breaker, but something you should know. If this video helped you, be sure to post Slumber in the comments just to let me know you did, and be sure to include what you're most looking forward to from the 3.0 update. I'd love to know. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.